What's up guys, how's it going? We're back with another video today, and this time we're going to bring to you a budget-friendly tribe. And this isn't just any tribe. This is going to be a tribe that can go toe-to-toe with dragons, Eldrazi, dinosaurs, all the big mana creatures. But, like I said, budget-friendly. So you're probably wondering, what the heck can go up with these big tribes and be budget friendly? Well, let me show you. So of course, out of the top tribes, you have elves, dragons, zombies, goblins, vampires, which suck. I'll get into that later. Humans, which are actually getting to be a lot stronger with Kyler. Sorry, I don't know what I said, Kyle. But if we just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and going and going, we're eventually going to hit our tribe for the day, which way down here at 810 decks are giants. Now you're probably wondering, how can giants go toe to toe with dragons and Eldrazi and dinosaurs and all these big scary creatures? Yes, they can. All right, so when we look at this card, let's just look at this card right here. Let's just focus on this. Calamity Bearer, 2 red, 2 colorless, creature giant berserker. If a giant source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. All right, amazing giant. And like I said, don't pay attention to the stats because there's a reason for colors. There's a reason for that. Calamay, who you see here, was the first giant commander. She came out with all the Lorewind giant precon support that they possibly had at the time. There are a lot of good giants in red specifically. There are a couple good ones in white, which we'll get into in a bit. But as far as overall, giants don't really have a lot of good representation in the legendary category. And this is where this tribe suffers. This is why you haven't seen anybody play giants. Given Jimmy Wong from the Command Zone did try to do a giant tribal, and he struggled with it. I commend him for trying, but giants aren't really representing good in the colors that he chose. And while he tried to do something cool, they need something, and it kind of just Jimmy Wong trying to play giant tribal kind of exposed that giants don't have as much support as people think they do. I mean, look at Aegir. Aegir the Freezing Flame is a pretty cool 3-drop giant for 3, and he's 3/3 for 3, and he's a giant wizard. A lot of giants in Kaldheim were wizards. So whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess damage. If a giant wizard or spell you control dealt the damage this turn, draw a card. Okay, there's a draw card, but how many giant legendaries are there? There are not that many. So as far as the top commanders, you have 5 commanders, and they're not even representing all the colors that giants are in. Giants are in all 5 colors. So you have red, blue, red, white, blue. Morophon doesn't count. I don't like Morophon because it's expensive, and it's kind of just like you have a tribe, just throw a Morophon and hope for the best. I don't like that. You have Brian, Stout Arm, which doesn't really support giants at all. He just flings stuff. You have Storvald, which recently came out in AFR, who's in Bant colors, who's a really great giant. I'm gonna get more into him later because he's one of my favorite giants. And then let me see, what other legendaries do you have? You have Thrix, who's a mono blue, and then you have the Elder giants, which was Uro and Krosa, I think is the name of the red-black Elder giant. So you have Uro, which you do have, I forgot about Jareth. the white one. But you have Uro, which is blue-green, but Uro's kind of more for a very particular deck, doesn't really care about the tribe. Jareth doesn't really care about the tribe. And then you have Krosa, which also doesn't care about the tribe. So there aren't that many legendary giants. Oh yeah, and Aloro, which is the only semi-decent one. Like if Aloro had red and green, or red or green, Aloro would be my favorite commander for this tribe. But you know, being in Bant, you're missing out on red, and a lot of giants are in red. So before we look into the tribe itself and like explore what they do and what they're really good at, let's look at some commanders. So we were talking about 4 colors. So out of the 4 colors, we would have to go with non-black. The reason why I say non-black is because there aren't a lot of giants in black. You have Grave Titan and a couple zombies, but that's pretty much it, and Aloro who's banned. But like I said, that's pretty much all you have. And honestly, non-black doesn't have a lot of representation, which is kind of sad. So out of the partners, not saying the partners are bad, because they're not, but I want something to work with the giants, and these are all kind of generic and don't really support the giants or what the giants want to do. And the giants want to be the only tribe standing on the field, and I'll get more into that later. But Omnath, I think, would be a good start if you don't want to go all 5 colors, or you feel like it's not worth it to put anything into black since there aren't that many black giants. I think Omnath would be a good fit when it enters the battlefield. You draw a card, which there are blink synergies with a lot of the giants, because a lot of giants have ETB effects. Omnath could be a great start. You draw a card, and then for every land that enters the battlefield after that, or just every turn, you know, you get benefits. So for the first 3 lands, the first land you get 4 life. The second land you get 4 colors, the 4 colors that make up Omnath, Locus of Creation, for free. So that's good. So you can like cast spells. You can use them to, you know, drop free creatures. Most giants generally are 4 to 6 in average mana cost. So that could be a free creature right there. And in the third time you play a land, Omnath deals 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control. So if you blink Omnath, then you know you get to draw again, and you get 3 more land drops. If you want to go heavy into mana ramping, because giants are big mana creatures, you could, but that's a little too much focus getting away from the giants. There are a few giants that can mana ramp you, but not as consistent as, you know, Omnath would need. Then you have TNT. TNT are pretty good, but again, I see at the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Each player may put a land from his or her hand onto the battlefield. Then each opponent, who didn't draw a card. It's like, so you draw a card, people get lands. You don't really want your opponents to get lands and draw cards, you know, and or draw cards. You know, like you're not trying to help out your opponents, you're trying to kill them. So as far as 4 colors go, I don't really see any type of benefit there. Getting back into commanders, let's check out 5 color commanders and see if there's anything better. So we're zoomed in just for the sake of being able to see the cards. We're gonna do this whole video here on EDHREC just because there's not really too much spotlighting that needs to be done. Everything's kind of here, or at least the general of cards are here, and then we can talk about stuff as we go. So first off, so sad Golos is banned. I understand why Golos is banned, but for a deck like this, I need Golos. Golos would just really help with the mana ramp for the big mana of these giants. Giants, kaijus, and other decks that just didn't have a commander representation for them really needed Golos. And I'm not going to get into Golos banning and talk about that too much, but just it sucks that Golos got banned when he did, because I had just ordered it to build my giant tribal decks, and yeah, Golos got banned. So Kinrith, the Returned King, would probably be the next best option. Bonuses about playing Kinrith as the commander for a giant tribal. You have 1 red, give all creatures trample and haste. That's pretty good. There are giants that already give these types of effects. There's a giant that gives haste to all other giants. There's a giant that gives trample to all other giants. There's one that gives vigilance to all other giants. So Kinrith, as far as that, is like, it's okay. You know, you have pay 1 red, all creatures get trample and haste, which can help if you don't have the other giants. You know, his second effect, the one in a green, putting a +1 counter, can help if you need to just, you know, run over somebody. The gain life, if you want to go into plus counter synergies with life gain, which is a thing. Draw a card, which, you know, hey, it's never bad. Pay 4, draw a card, can't argue with that. And then, of course, getting a creature back from the graveyard to the battlefield. When your opponents start to realize how powerful your giants are, they're going to target you. It's going to turn into archenemy really quick, because, like I said, giants can go toe-to-toe with dragons, with Eldrazi, you know, with dinosaurs. Like, they're very powerful, so you're gonna need that last effect. So as far as Kinrith goes, Kinrith would be a great option. Of course, the Dragon, no, definitely not. We're not playing dragons. Sisei's Weatherlight Captain would be good if there were legendaries. As I said before, there aren't that many legendaries. There are maybe at most 9, and that's a bit of a stretch. There are maybe 9 legendary giants, and you're not going to get a lot of benefit out of them. Morphon, just not interested. Najila only focuses on warriors. Joda would be good, but there aren't that many giants that are really big. So if we were to look at building a giant deck, you would really need giants that are 7, I would say about 7 or more, to really get that effect from Joda where you're paying Wooburg to just cast the spell. Paying 5 instead of paying its converted mana cost. While there are quite a few giants that are higher than 6, I say, actually, yeah, let me take that back. I say 6 or higher. There are quite a few good ones that are above 6, but there aren't enough to really, you know, to really merit that effect, where you feel like you're getting the most uses out of Joda's Wooburg effect. Especially when there's an artifact that does the exact same thing, and it kind of wouldn't help you. As far as Iska, we'll just say Iska. I have no clue how to pronounce that. While she is a mana dork with vigilance, the legendary part we don't need, but the prismatic bridge would be great for this type of deck, and I'll explain why. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker. Put that card onto the battlefield, put the rest at the bottom of your deck of your library in a random order. So with the Prismatic Bridge, you have to wait till your next upkeep, sad face, but you're guaranteed a creature every upkeep. Guaranteed. You are guaranteed a free giant every one of your turns. So that's good. You know, at least you're progressing, you're getting them for free. You know, you'll have haste, vigilance, trample. Like I said, a lot of giants have ATB effects, so you might just be able to board wipe everybody right at the start of your upkeep as you're untapping. You know, you're untapping your stuff, you board wipe everybody, now the field is open and you get to swing with all your giants, plus you get all your mana. You know, like I said, there are definite ways to do things. There are a lot of ETB effects with giants, so she would be a great fit, but I think she would be more of a 99 type effect, where she could really help out in the 99, but she could also help out as a commander at the same time. So it's kind of whichever one you feel more comfortable with. And then going further down, I don't really see anything else. Slivers, Ramos is really expensive right now as well, but also there aren't a lot of multicolored giants. There were a few in Kaldheim, but there weren't enough to really merit Ramos, where Ramos wants you to have different colored spells that come in so that you can put the plus counters to get the double Woolberg. But like I said, there are a lot of single cost giants, well, single colored giants, I should say, sorry. Which is the same thing with Niv Mizzet Reborn. There's too many single colored giants. Sorry, I keep saying single cost. Too many single colored giants. The tome, no, that focuses more on instants and sorceries. The Scarecrow, no. General Tazri, that's for allies. Actually, the new General, there we go. The new General Tazri would be a somewhat of a good fit, only because clerics, warriors, and wizards you will see in giants. Not a lot of warriors. There are a few. There are no rogues that I know of. There might be, but they might be questionable. And then there are a couple clerics, but there are a lot of wizards. So at least you'll have a few party members, but I mean, you're just kind of like going for the top 6. If it was like the Prismatic Bridge where you keep searching until you find a party member, then that would have been a lot better, but no. Tiamat, Progenitus, no, and it just keeps getting worse. So you could look at Gigantha. Starting deck. No cards in your starting deck has more than one of the same mana color. No, I don't know. That one would be questionable. Oh, and that's it. So I would say definitely the Prismatic Bridge and Kinrith, but I would lean more towards Kinrith just because if you're going 5 color, or even if you're going 4 color, 4 or 5 color, if you don't want the black because you're not going to play black, you don't need it, but you can still have mana rocks that, you know, that tap for one of any color, so Kinrith will still be useful. And then at least you have the haste, the trample, the +1 counters, the draw. You know, you can get creatures back from the graveyard, which is great. So I'd say Kinrith would probably be the best way to go. So getting back into the tribe itself, some giants I wanted to point out just to like show you what I mean by giants being powerful. Let's start with Storvold. Storvold is one of my favorite giants, and if you feel free to look around while you're here, the link for the tribe will be in the description below the video. Storvold gives you Ward 3, so he costs, to target him costs 3 more. So if an opponent wants to target Storvold, they have to pay an extra 3 mana, and then he gives that to all of your creatures. So all of your giants will have this protection where it costs 3 extra for opponents to target them, which 3 is a lot. I mean, when you're really thinking about it. Plus, Frost Titan has Ward 2 because Frost Titan was the original Ward. So for Frost Titan, that would be Ward 5. They have to pay 5 extra mana to target Frost Titan, and Frost Titan is crazy. Anyway, so whenever Storvold enters the battlefield or attacks, choose one or both. The first of his effects is target creature has base power and toughness 7/7 until the end of turn. The second effect is target creature has base power and toughness 1/1 until the end of turn. Storvold himself is a 7-drop for 7. So as a legendary creature in banned, I mean, you're missing out on red, but if you wanted to play spells, you could get a lot off of this. There's a giant that makes it so that other creatures that are 5 or higher can't be countered and cost 1 less. So then he would turn him into a 5, and then you have Vanquisher's Banner and other cost reduction tribal support out there. So you could get him down pretty low, or if you saw my Hamza video, then you could figure out how to just pay the 3 and that would be it. Anyway, so when he enters the battlefield or attacks, that means you can get this effect twice in 1 turn. So when you cast him, literally you're choosing 2 creatures. So let's say you have a 3/3 giant. You can now make that giant a 7/7. It just says target creature. It doesn't say your creature, it doesn't say opponent's creatures, it just says target creature. So what does that mean for the second effect? Well, let's say you're going up against an Eldrazi deck, and that Eldrazi is, you know, something scary. Like let's say it's a 14/14 on the field, and you're like, wow, I can't do anything about that. I'm not going to attack because it's scary. Well, Storvold says when it enters the battlefield or attacks, so you enter battle, you choose one of your creatures to make a 7/7, and then you choose that Eldrazi to make it a base power and toughness of 1/1. Yes, so if you have blink effects and you have flash, Storvold is an awesome commander where you could blink him, you know, with instants and sorceries with flash and other synergies and combos I'm sure you can come up with if you're familiar with that type of strategy, where you could blink Storvold and then bam, you know, you could do a group hug type effect, or you know, maybe you need to reduce the cost of an attacking creature that's attacking you. You blink Storvold in that instant. If you can get one where it immediately leaves the battlefield and comes back under your control, you could then make one of your creatures a 7/7 to block. Again, you know, make to block something and then make your opponent's creature a 1/1. Or maybe you have a token, you know, a 0/0 token creature where it just has +1 counters on it and you just need a little bit of an extra push. You could also make that token a 7/7, you know, with all the plus counters, because it's the base that's increasing and the +1 counters sit on top of it. That's something that I learned when I was playing Amass, where I had an Amass zombie that was like a 17/17 because of the plus counters, and someone was like, haha, I'm gonna turn your big zombie into a 2/2 like I forgot what it was, like a 2/2 wolf or something like that. And I was like, oh cool, you made my creature stronger. Now it's no longer a zombie, but it was a 0/0 zombie with +1 counters. Now it's a 2/2, you know, creature with 17 +1/1 counters. So when it comes to stuff like that, you can always buff up other creatures, or, you know, reduce the attack of other creatures to just make things easier. Calamity Bearer, I went over earlier, doubling the damage of all giants. So let's say you're playing 5 colors with Kinrith, you know, Calamity Bearer and Storvold are gonna make your giants crazy. This is why I said it could turn into archenemy really quick. So if you're playing 4 or 5 colors, this is why I said red, white, blue, green are kind of the best colors you want to go with. Storvold's a 7/7. So with Calamity Bearer, Storvold's doing 14 damage. If you look over here at Realm Cloak Giant is a sorcery with adventure that destroys all non-giant creatures. What is it? It's also a 7/7, so 14 damage. Then you have Storvold's effect, which can make a creature's power and toughness 7/7. Guess what? Calamity Bearer is a 3/4. With Storvold, now Calamity Bearer is a 7/7. So now it's doing 14 damage as well. You see how quickly you can kill somebody with just 3 creatures? This is what I'm talking about. Like, giants are so cool. Anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, but take a look at them and take a look at their prices. Like I said, budget friendly tribe, very powerful. You know, with Realm Cloak, you have literally one of three board wipes that are giant tribal based. So right under Realm Cloak Giant, you have Cyclone Summoner. Cyclone Summoner is literally let me just read the card. When Cyclone Summoner enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, return all permanents to their owner's hands except for giants, wizards, and land. So you are literally looking at a cyclonic rift that does not hit giants, wizards, and lands. Like bam. That's one of 2 board wipes. That's why I said, like I said, one of 2 board wipes. So then you have, where's the other one? You have Thundercloud Shaman. When Thundercloud Shaman enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to the number of giants you control to each non-giant creature. Do you hear what I'm saying? here? Do you see the glory? This card is 25 cents. Okay, Cyclone Summoner, 39 cents, as low as 20 cents. I'm just looking at the first price. 49 cents. Like, if you're looking at highest price, okay, maybe 50 cents for all, maybe $1 depending on your store. You know, I can't guarantee what they'll sell it to you for if they see that it's like, if they only charge for $1 even though it's 25 cents. Some stores do that. They still charge you $1 just because they're like, oh, because of taxes, whatever. But you have 3 one-sided board wipes that are on creatures that are ETB effects. You know, except for Realm Cloak. Realm Cloak is an adventure card, so you would play the sorcery side, which destroys all non-giants, and then it sits in exile until you cast it for its mana cost, which is 7. So I mean, like 7. Cyclone Summoner is another 7/7. So, you know, with Calamity Bear, that's 14. Again, you're clearing the field for your giants to swing in for game. You know, Thundercloak Shaman, you're going to have a bunch of giants by then, because giants, you know, like I said, we're getting out giants fast. There is tribal. So Thundercloud, if you blink it, you can just keep board wiping your opponents. You know, there are a couple of blink effects that you could throw in. I'm not going to get into them. I don't want this video to be too long, and it's already almost 30 minutes. But, you know, 4 or 5 color deck. The only problem giants have is that they don't have a really good leader at the helm of their tribe. And that's where Kinrith comes in handy. Like, if you do, you know, let's say you Thundercloud somebody. You Thundercloud everybody. And then they destroy your Thundercloud. You have Kinrith. You get Thundercloud Shaman back from the graveyard to the battlefield. You board wipe again. This is what I'm talking about. 25-cent card. You know, like, they have everything they need. Thrix is who I was talking about, that gives them, that makes it so that they can't be countered, and Thrix has flash, so your giants can't be countered, so you don't have to worry about blue as far as that aspect. Beanstalk can get you land, along with another giant that has an ETB effect. Ondu Giant, which when it enters the battlefield, search for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tap. You can keep blinking that or getting it back from the graveyard. You know, you could use sacrifice synergies. What is it? Greater Good, to draw cards, send him to the graveyard, bring him back with Kinrith, get more land. Like, you see where I'm going with this. And then of course you have all the Titans, of course, except Prime Time. So you have Sun Titan, Inferno Titan, Frost Titan, Grave Titan, Earth Shaker Giant, which is great. Another card where when it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +3/+3 and trample, and it's a 6/6. Like I said, think about Calamity Bearer. Whenever you see these giants, think about Calamity Bearer being on the field and how it's going to double. All the Titan rotations, they're all 6/6s. So I mean, think about that. You know, like, giants are just freaking awesome, man. You have a giant over here that has vigilance, that gives all creatures you control +2 on the back end and vigilance. You have Stone Hewer Giant, which can search for an equipment. Okay, if you're thinking, why would I need to search for an equipment? Giants are already big. Well, there's Belt of Giant Strength. I wonder if they have it on the list. Probably not. There's Belt of Giant Strength that came out recently, which makes them +10/+10. And then you have Colossal Hammer. You have Hammer of Nazan if you want to. You know, like, they don't have Belt of Giant Strength, but like I said, you have amazing giants here. You have a giant with Myriad. Look at this. All right, think about this. Like I said, keep in mind, I want you to think about Calamity Bearer being on the field. So War Chief Giant has haste, has Myriad. So when you attack with War Chief Giant, it's going to make a token copy of that giant for each opponent, doing double damage with Calamity Bearer on the field. That's 10 damage to each opponent. Come on, man. I'm done. I'm pretty sure you guys see what I'm talking about. Like, there are just so many good giants that have come out. They even have their own support from Kaldheim, where they have draw and cost reduction, and like Inferno Titan's gonna deal 6 damage with Calamity Bearer on the field. Like Frost Titan, who I was talking about earlier, pretty much has the original ward on it, which ward 2. So ward 2 if any opponent wants to target it, but whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, tap target permanent, which means you can tap people's lands every time it enters the battlefield and or attacks. So if you have haste for all your creatures on the field, you could blink Frost Titan, tap down someone's lands and creatures, and then attack and tap down more stuff. And like, too good. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, leave a like. Tell me what you think about giants. Have you ever thought about playing giants? Did you never know that giants were a thing? Is this something that's up your alley? Like I said, all these giants are really cheap. This is a very budget friendly tribal deck that's going to contend with Eldrauzis, with dragons, with dinosaurs. You're going to be able to beat them. If you're wondering how you can run over more Eldrauzi outside of Storvold, you have Borderland Behemoth right here, which I'm not going to read. I'll let you read it. It's on the screen. It gets so crazy and out of hand. It's ridiculous. So, you know, like, giants are, you don't want to sleep on giants. Yeah, like when I built my giant tribal with minus the commander, because even Golos wasn't that expensive when I bought him, even though he's banned now. But when I got all my giants, I spent $14, literally just $14 on the entire deck, because I already had everything else. You know, if you have your mana ramps, your cultivates, your mana rocks, you don't really need too much. Kaldheim did have some giant specific instants and sorceries and enchantments, but if you have the basics, you know, your Vanquisher banner cards, you know, your Garruk's Uprising, Triumph of the Hordes, and more, you know, green big creatures, big mana creatures, there's a lot of specific cards that you would already know about for those. You know, like I said, Garruk's Uprising, most giants are over 4 anyway, so you're going to be drawing cards. You're giving them trample, etc. Giants are amazing, and they're going to put in work, and people are going to fear them, and they're going to look at you like, how the heck did you figure this out? And it's because I told you. So go out there, have fun, destroy your friends. Sorry this video got longer than I expected, but giants are just so cool. And like, man, giants are so cool. Look at this, a giant that hits flying creatures. Anyway, oh, creatures without flying, like just like board wipes. Deals 4 damage to each creature without flying and each player. Come on, bro. Calamity, that's 8. With Calamity Bear, that's 8 damage to each creature. Like I said, that's the 4th board wipe right there. Like, you don't even need to put in board wipes because the giants are the board wipes. I'm out. I'll see you guys later. Peace.